Hello, dear students. How are you? I'm Miss Shirin, science teacher. How are you? Today, inshallah, we are going to finish chapter 13, section 3, which is only chemistry part. This section is included for exam, okay? So, previously we talked about acid and base, okay? And how do you know it's acid and base? During this reaction, when acid and base react together, we get it what? Water and salt. Okay, let's know how salt we get it. Do you know what the salt which is present in our kitchen? Okay, we eat it every day. Okay, NaOH. When an acid neutralizes a base, so how we get the salt? When an acid, okay. When an acid neutralizes a base. So which one acid? Strong acid neutralizes a weak base. Okay. So a salt, water. We get it what during this chemical reaction? We get it salt and water. Okay, are produced. So what is salt? Salt is an ionic compound. It's the type of what? If you remember, we talked about an ionic compound and covalent compound. So salt is from the ionic compound, which is current conductivity. Clear? Formed from the positive ion. Have you remember? NaOH. It's negative and positive. Clear? Yes, and the negative, ion. So when you hear word salt, you think about what? Salt table. I said sodium chloride. So NaCl. Sorry, I was confused. NaCl. Okay, which is positive and negative. We get it what? Sodium chloride. That is using in food is only an example of what? A large group of compounds. Okay, look at here. Before look at the picture. So an ion compound made from neutralization of an acid with base. We have base, which are called base, weak base and acid. Okay, they reacted. We get it during this reaction. We get it salt and water. Clear? Yes. Let us go using of salt. Salt, it's using every day, and it is very common in everything. Okay. So salt have uses in what? Industry and homes. So it's using even industry and home. How? In home, we're using for what? For food, especially, okay? Industry is using for another thing. Already, you know, sodium chloride is using in food, as I mentioned. It's make other compound, including, we have some of them, sodium hydroxide, soap, and sodium hydrogen carbonate, and ammonium nitrate, okay? All of them is a type of what? A type of salt, which using to what? Used to fertilizing. Calcium sulfuric, it's using to make what? Wallboard, which is used in construction. Okay, look at, I make some common question, okay, which is important for national exam too. What the salts spread on the road during winter? So during winter, I think it's not in our country, in other outside country, they spread what? Salt into the street. Why? Because of what? To what? To increase the fraction of the road surface? Or to lower the freezing point of water? Y'all think it. So to absorb excess moisture from the air, or to prevent from crashing. So which one is correct? Which one? So B is the correct. Which is what? Why they put salt or spray salt in the street? when especially in which kind of day? Snowing day. A heavy snowing day. Clear? Why? To lower the freezing point of water. To prevent make an accident or crashing car. Clear? Number 2, which solid primary using to key intervenient to production of fertilizer? Which one? Sodium hydroxide, as I mentioned, you should be memorized. The name is very carefully, okay? Sodium hydroxide, the sodium hydroxide used for fertilizing, or calcium sulfur, or ammonium nitrate. Of course, ammonium nitrate is the correct answer. Clear? Okay. Let's just go to, yes. Okay, dear student, from here we finish it, this chapter and this section. Inshallah, you'll get a high mark, okay? So, let's make a quick review together, which is the summary. All molecules, which is strong or base, all molecules, strong acid, and break apart from ion, okay? How do you know a strong acid? We talked about previously. When all molecules break apart in water and produce what? We have acid, produce hydrogen gases. Clear? Few molecules or free molecules break apart in water. We get it. Which kind of acid? Weak acid. Okay? Be careful. The summary is very important, especially for national exam. Clear? An acid and base can neutralize one another to produce what? When acid and base neutralize each other, they produce what? They produce salt and water, as I explained it before. This one, pH. What the pH? And we're talking about pH and we're talking about indicator. And we say the difference between pH and indicator. Clear? What was the difference between them? Indicator was, which is identify the solution. It is acid or base. But pH telling us what the measure. Got it? The measure of hydronium ion concentration in solution. Okay? So, and the last one, we talked about what solution ion compound produced in what? Neutralizing. How we get it? Salt, as I mentioned it, when neutralize. Neutralize what and what? Base and acid. Very good. Okay, we get it. Salt during neutralization reaction, which is base and acid reacted together. And salt have many industrial and diametric uses. Clear? Perfect. So, and we talked about pH value, and each color give the numbers and telling us it is strong or base. Let's go to section review. Section review, try to care about section review, all the section review, okay? So, with your own words, write the sentence expressing the relationship between the following: neutralization, reaction, and salt. What the relationship between? Who can do it? Yalla. What is it? The answer, water and salt are formed from what? From neutralization reaction. So we get it. Water and salt during which kind of reaction? Neutralization reaction. Between what and what? Base and acid. So you have multiple choice. A neutralization reaction include acid and base. It's produce salt. It's right? It's produce salt, yes. Form waters, of course. So all of us, that's mean all of us, is right about this question. So neutralization. During neutralizing reaction, which is included between acid and base. During this reaction, we get it what? Salt, and we get it water too. So the answer, it is what? All about. Clear? It's important. So explain the difference between strong acid and weak acid. As we talk, a strong acid, the molecule break apart and produce hydrogen ion, which all the molecule break apart, we get it what? Strong acid. What about weak acid? Weak acid, which one? Does all molecules break apart become weak acid? No, of course not. If what? A partly of molecule break apart and form hydrogen too. In both, we get it hydrogen. Be careful. But in strong acid, we get more hydrogen, okay? That's why strong acid. But we get hydrogen when dissolved in water. Clear? And they both conductivity, right? Conduct electrical carrier. Clear? Perfect. Yes. Why? Okay, sorry. Yeah. Look at this mass scale. This mass scale is logically solved, okay? And not by rules. Because in chemistry, especially in this section, we don't have any rule to solve it any mass scale, okay? So logically, you can solve it. Look at here. Yes. For each point lower on the pH scale, the hydrogen ion insulation increased tenfold. For example, solution if what pH is 3 is not twice as acidic as a solution pH is what? 1,000 times acidic. How many times more acidic in solution pH 2 than a solution of pH 3? In pH 3, it's about how much the pH it will be? What? 1,000 times. So if you compare it, if pH is 2, how much? Look at it. As I said, logically, we're going to solve it. pH 1, how much was? 2. Okay? pH 2, it is 4, right? Find out the delta. Okay, the delta pH 2 minus pH 1, which is 2, pH 2 minus pH 1. 4 times minus 2, it will be 2. Clear? So, acidicity, we put it 10 delta pH, so acidicity 10 delta pH, it will be how many times? 100 times it is acidic than if pH 2 or pH is 4. Clear? Get it? So it's logically it's solved. Get? Yes, look at here. Critical thinking, analysis process. Look at here. What happens if 2 hydrogen ion concentration and pH of water, hydrochloric acid, added to water? What happened? Of course, what happened? What happened? The concentration of pH decreased or increased? Of course. What happened? The pH decreased because it's added what? Water. Clear? Number 6, analyze reaction. What fish would fish survive in a lake that has low pH? Example. No, of course not. Because why no? Because fish will not be safe under lower pH. Okay, so it live in which kind of pH? Should be the water has which kind of pH? Which one? Almost 7 to survive it. Clear? That's meant in strong base or strong solution on strong acid does not fish, it survive it. Clear? Let's go to chapter review. Chapter review. The first one was about any compound and covalent compound. Have you remembered in the first lecture I'm explained about any compound and covalent compound, okay? Yes. Any compound, covalent compound, so any compound is formed when atoms what? Lose or against what? Valence electron, right? Remember? But covalent compound contain bond that form when group of atoms share their valence electron. It's very important to know what the difference between them. And previously I said it is very important. What the difference between ionic compound and covalent compound? During ionic compound, which is the atoms, they gain or lose electron. Okay? Again, or lose electron. But during covalent compound, they what? They sharing valence electron, okay? Which means they still together. Get it? And acid and base, as we talked about, it's compound that increases the number of hydronium ion. Look at here to compare. During acidity, we get which kind of ion? Hydronium ion. When you solve it in what? In water. Be careful. But base and compound that increase the number of what? Hydroxide ion. Clear? Which is OH negative and H positive. Clear? Perfect. And look at pH and indicator. As I say, it's very important. pH is a measure. Look at here. It's a what? It's a measure of hydrogen ion concentration in the solution. Be careful. pH is what? It's measure. Okay? It's not identify the solution. But indicator compound that change the color depending on the pH level, which is by indicator we know or identify the solution it is base or acid. Clear? Yes, some multiple choice, which is important. Ionic compound have low melting point, are often brittle, or do not conduct electrical current in water, do not dissolve in water. Does it true? No. Which one is only true? Often what? Often brittle. Clear? Refer to the figure 2 as I explained it. This one. This question is about this question. When you add it to acidic water, what happened to the solution? Does the solution increase or decrease the number of hydrogen? Of course, what happened? Yes. Yes, this one. Refer to page. Increase the concentration of hydronium ion solution. Increase the pH. As I said, no. Decrease the pH. Decrease the pH. When you add it into a solution or acidic solution to add more water, what happened to the solution? The concentration start to change, right? When it start to change it, it's increase or decrease? Of course, decrease the number of hydrogen. Thank you for listening. And that was the end of chapter 13, section 3. I hope, inshallah, everyone get a high mark in science. God blessing you. Thank you.